What is up? What is happening? How is life? And welcome to Thankful Thursday, Unblinded movement. A big thank you to all our new members. A big thank you to all our continuous members of the movement. And welcome to the #1 place to start your day with a daily dose of integrity-based human influence. My name's Fernando, a fellow co-founder here on Unblinded. And I'm pumped and I'm excited. We've been up since 6:30 in the morning in the world of full innovation, scatoma disruption, and truly thinking about our 10 by 10s, thinking about the simplicity of the formula, thinking about our real raw opens, and that's what we're measuring. And what I'm thankful for today on this Thankful Thursday, I'm thankful for those that know how to take the first step before they see the entire staircase. That is what I'm present to. Sean shared some beautiful conversations this week about not chasing people, understanding that some will not understand. And what I'm looking to remove is for everyone and for myself, I'm speaking to myself here, is like the thought that this is confusing and people don't get it. And what I'm realizing very quickly through my reflection is that my understanding of people don't get it or this is confusing is simply a reflection of my thoughts and my reality, and then I place them on other people. So I ask you to ponder on that today. Is the no, the default no, the knowingness, whatever friction you're feeling in your life, is it really the other people? Or is it you projecting that friction onto other people? And listen, it's not always gonna be that. Sometimes it is the other people. I would hallucinate though, in my depth of study of self-mastery with Sean, and right now we just stepped into that in our Mastery University. For the most part, most friction, most default no, and most knowingness actually starts with the individual. And it's a projection of your own knowingness, your own default no. And like, how can that show up? It's like thinking, oh, people are just not gonna get it, and people are gonna say no to me. And then when people don't get it and say no to you, you're like, man, this is ridiculous. And yet you said it and you created it. So those are my thoughts this early morning as we step into the thinking of Thankful Thursday, confusion and friction. My thoughts are, in your self-mastery, is it really the people or is it you? And I ask yourself to think about that, today as you go through your day on Thankful Thursday. So for everyone in the chat, some questions and thoughts, or here's my question. How many people are on your 10 by 10? Let's drop some numbers. I want to see some numbers. I want to see who's close to 10, who hasn't started, and like, say whatever number, say the truth. If it's 1, if it's 0, what is it? Like, how many people do you have on your 10 by 10? How many people do you have on your 10 by 10? And I see some numbers. I see some 2s, 0s, 5s, 6, 9s, 10s. Ripple has 2. He should have like 20 because he's incredible. He connected us with someone last week. But this is amazing. Dimple has 9.5. That's very interesting. You have half a person. I'm curious on what that means. I love your specificity and detail. Nita has 3 and 4 is coming. This is incredible. So for everyone that's at 0, look at the people that have more than 1 and call them, ask them. Here's my second question to you. How many of you have already been drafted? Not like building your 10. How many of you have been drafted? So if you have been drafted, say yes. If you haven't been drafted, say no. So there's you're part of a 10, meaning someone drafted you, and you're leading a 10, meaning you have your 10. So if you've been drafted already, say yes. And if you haven't, say no. And everyone, look at the chat. For everyone that doesn't have 10, go hunt these people. Go hunt. Every no should be getting a phone call. It seems, I'm sorry, I was reading a note. If there's a no in the chat and you don't have 10, call these people. They're unblinded. They know the formula. These are the people you want in your 10. So that's my recommendation to you is everyone, what's up, Mona? Everyone that said no in the chat, go draft them. How many people are in your 10? Are you drafted yet, yes or no? And what are you measuring? Back to you, Mr. Callaghan. The chat is on fire.
Hey, good morning, guys. I've been hearing all the questions. I had a little bit of challenge getting on. My apologies, but I've been hearing this since about 8:32. So awesome. Great job, Fernando. Kick us off. So happy Thankful Thursday. Oh boy, do we have a lot to chat about, and especially with what Fernando was discussing. We're going to try a new format within the format. So it's not like actually my distinction in it's a vertical innovation within the current format of the huddle. So here's my question to go along with what Fernanda was just sharing about numbers of 10. If you're in the space of like perceiving, I want you to rate yourself and I want to put a number in there. So this is going to be your level of mastery within process marketing mastery of Unblinded, which is actualized through the 10 by 10. Okay, so I want you to rate yourself. A 0 to 5 means that you think that a 0 to 5 means you think the 10 by 10 is something that is a networking thing that helps you meet people, but it's, you know, maybe like kind of a little bit like network marketing in some way. And it's just something that we're hyping that is good for Unblinded because it gets lots of people to like know who we are and what we're doing. And it's really just like some like nice words around a networking group, right? And that's you're in the 0 to 5 level of wisdom, right? About what this is. If you're in the 5 to 9, 5 to 8.9, right? You are 5 to 8.9. You get that there is massive value here. And you may have even gotten your 9.5 like Dimple. You are clear that this is something that is a critical part and somewhere in the continuum, right? There's a difference between 5.1 and 8.9, right? But it's some level of this. Could be super high, could be just the beginning of, that this is a phenomenally important part of what you want to be doing if you want more money and less time with more magic. And you get that you should be counting ecosystem merging, speaking engagements, sales meetings, sales, disposable income, and contribution dollars. You know all of that. You believe all of that, and you're even doing all of that. If you are, with nothing else, on my scale, our scale, you're still in the 8s or less, without more. Okay? I just had a conversation, before we get into the 9s, I just had a conversation, I was sharing on the mastery call, with people that I love and care about deeply, okay? And these are super smart people. And Fernanda, if we can get Rebecca Jones able to come live with us in a minute, if she's up for it. Let's see if we can do that. Not quite yet. So the dynamic was astounding to me. The dynamic was, hey, Sean, and these were with 3 different conversations I had this morning. 3 before the huddle, okay? There were people I do business with. There were people I have business partnerships with. And they all would say this sentence: Sean, and have said it and say it all the time, you changed my life. I cannot believe what's happened because of the things that you have shown me and taught me. I am like blown away all the time by what you teach, the formula, what you share. Thank you. And I want to build these massive things with you together. Okay? So presume that's said, and it was said, and it's always said, what I just shared. And then, on the other hand, is also said, and listen, like I get it, the 10 by 10 is like this, you know, like great thing, like cool, like connecting thing or something. Yeah, like, you know, but I'm just so busy right now because of everything that we've created together, you know, and I'm building this whole thing that's going to be unbelievable for both of us. Question from me, okay, did you watch the module on Friday, which we've shared is like the summary module like the module to watch? Answer, well, no, I've been really busy. I said, but you've been busy building something extraordinary to change an industry, have massive impact, and be totally incredible. And you want me at the co-epicenter of it with you. Absolutely, of course. Said, then why are you treating me like I don't know what I'm talking about? And like, we would never do that. I'm like, well, you respect me as a leader, your coach, your friend, your partner, right? Yes. And the one thing I told you to do in the past week is the one thing you didn't do. You did all of these other things thinking that you're doing things to help us, to advance us, to do everything. And fundamentally, you don't even understand what's happening, right? And here's why. You become above a 9 when you realize that this is so much more than just counting ecosystem merging, speaking engagements, sales meetings, sales, disposable income, and contribution dollars. When you begin to have conversations about the value of being an operationalizer in the 10, and who is the operationalizer? When you begin to think about how connectors want to come into your 10 because they can't operationalize, and they will look to you and your leadership and follow you forever as long as you create the maximum operationalizer value that you're adding to the group. People will be there forever when you are the validator they could never be or could never find and want to have you in their life forever. When you begin to understand and actualize the true value of influencers influencing influencers to merge ecosystems for 1 + 1 = 1 trillion relationships to make the world an even greater place, by the micro distinctions of these categories, now you're rising into the 9s. When you get to remember income, the game really begins at the 99th percentile. 90th percentile in the US, about 100K in income. 95th, 150K. 99, 400K. 99.9, 1.7 million. You begin to accelerate once you truly cross into the 9s. Pause. All I'm trying to reveal to you today is that the vast majority of people, I would go with 99% of everybody in the 10 by 10 who's heard of it, sits below a 9 right now. Some of you don't, a few. But if you do what these brilliant, beautiful, wonderful business partners of mine did, here's what their future will be. I promise. And I love them. And I will do everything I can to try to save them from this future. They will make a couple $1 million a year, more than they're making. And eventually they will quit and retire because they're exhausted, and they will reflect upon their life and say that I had this massive dream of impact. I have a beautiful life. I love my family. I have a second home. Everything is great. But I just couldn't find my way to have the impact that I believed I could. And my message never truly got out there. I'm 100% confident that's where it'll end. If they're yours, and if I deviate, right, from moving into the 9.9s of understanding process marketing mastery, being actualized and taught through the 10 by 10 for you. Because the value of the 10 by 10 at the end of the day, at its highest level, is simply teaching you the things you will learn through it. Every bit as much as what will be actualized through it. Because you could drop me in the middle of a country I don't speak the language, and I would be able to build a multiple 7-figure income an incredibly short period of time because of what I know how to do, which you are being taught through the 10 by 10. And I love it. There's no negative energy right here. It is desperation to ensure that the excitement and exuberance, because we are causing things in the world right now, right? We are causing things. These guys this morning, when they hit the phone call, are like, this is unbelievable. We're on fire. People are contacting, it was unbelievably beautiful energy. And they were thinking that they were so busy that they would marginally pay attention to their 10 by 10 because of how successful they are right now, because of what we've co-created and what I've taught them and the action steps they've taken. I'm delivering truth. Like, this is the reality, right? So then I'm like, okay, great, but you're missing the point, which is that you want to get somewhere. And the getting somewhere is through the lessons you're going to learn here that you don't have yet. Otherwise, you'd be there. So every day as we enter into this conversation, I'm going to speak into the listening briefly of the 0 to 5 folks and understanding, because they're newer and we do want to like support people and seeing what they don't see at like the most basic level. We want to speak into the people that are like, yeah, like I'm on fire. Like, let's go. Like, I get it. I'm in, right? We want to speak into the 5 to the 8.9s because we want to make sure they get into the 9s. And we want to speak into the 9s so they don't think the huddle is not for them anymore and it becomes obsolete and boring for them. So we're going to speak into each of the 3. And because if you're into the 9s, you need to be able to speak into the listening, the 0 to 5s and the 5s to 8.9s. And if you're 5 to 8.9, you need to be able to speak into the listening of the 9s and the 0 to 5s. And if you're a 0 to 5, I love you and you need some support in a real way. And so we don't want to leave you behind. And that is the reality. Pause. Fernando, what say you? And do we have Rebecca?
So team, let's tag in Rebecca.
I'm here.
And what say I? Completely agree. I love about it's not right or wrong. It's about where are you on the scale of mastery. I really want to anchor on the importance of language. I've had the honor of jumping around some 10 by 10 meetings. I was with Jay Levine last night and just exceptional what people have done. Jay's on his 5th meeting already. Some others are on their 3rd, their 2nd, their 1st. Truly understanding the importance of language and that this huddle, like this is base camp. If this thought has ever crossed your mind, what am I going to talk about on the huddle? I don't even know what to talk about. This huddle saves that. You don't even have to think. You come here, you get primed, you get content, you take it back to your team. That's what these huddles are designed for. It's an anchor, it's a base camp, it's a place to get where you're going to be speaking to, how you're going to be leading your team. These huddles are base camp for your leadership rising on your 10 by 10. Rebecca, what's happening?
Yeah, hold on. I'm going to frame the question. So, Fernando, so hold space for that you might be operating in the 5 to 6 to 7 range, even if you believe you're ready into the high 9s. Like, I'm holding space for that for myself. Hold space for that. Rebecca, what say you? I know your insight, your genius is present. I want to check in with you on any reaction, thoughts, that you have about this conversation this morning and anything else. So thanks, Rebecca, for being here.
Oh yeah, thank you for, I think, speaking into the huddle and even the shift that's taken place this morning to say, hey, I'm here to add value. And the moment our value dies off and we can't see our vision for being here, the value is not here, so we stop coming, and then we're missing the point. And thank you for adjusting and looking to continue to add value and create a vision big enough for all of us to step into.
Well, thank you, Rebecca. So Rebecca, what questions, if any, do you have about anything to do with accelerating your business, the 10 by 10s, like speaking just from your person of outstanding wisdom, who is still looking to grow and create more. So what's present for you in terms of what you think would be the next unlocking for you in either your personal acceleration or how you're implementing around the 10 by 10.
So I have one of the things that I did when it came to my 10 by 10 is I, in a sense, over invited for my 10 by 10 and saw who showed up and who was consistent for being at our meetings. And we have our 10. And now I think it's about the aligning and the vision that we have for our group. And what we've talked about is making a bigger difference with the CEOs across the country and changing maybe the way that they, and definitely changing the way that they see inclusion with when it comes to unseen disabilities. I have dyslexia and I'm working with Michelle and looking at how we can best change the way CEOs are looking at it. I'm a business coach, so I've been able to use the skills that I've had there to connect with CEOs. And now it's sharing that message so that we can create clarity in an area maybe they have been blind to, and now create opportunity for others that they might have been unseen to. And I think if we create a world where no one's left behind and everybody has the same opportunity, this is what I see. And I see every single one of you guys in that. Every single one of you can be in the 10. It's just those that are willing to step into that vision belong in my 10.
That's awesome, Rebecca. I love that. And I would encourage you and everybody to hold space for, over time, the massive breadth of never-ending impact that you can create through the 10. So like, I love it. I encourage strongly the shorter term vision, right? Which you may go, well, that's a long-term vision. It is, but there's still a short-term initial focus. But how expansive can that vision and mission become? And the answer is whatever you want it to be. So for each of the people in the group, you know, because I was hearing this a little bit about Jay's group this morning and hearing it in yours, and this would be a conversation into the 9s now. Like we're in the 9s conversation, right? It would be to hold space for all these following possibilities, right? The ability to impact the contribution you just described, plus others, right? They don't have to, but hold space for it, like, right? There's no limits. The ability to leverage your time such that you, like Oprah, Tony Robbins, Bruce Springsteen, and others, are getting paid to market, meaning you're growing your brand and business while you're actually getting paid, right? Like that's what these incredible people have created with their influence, right? And many others. Holding space for whatever the initial industries of predominant interest are, and maybe it stays that way for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 4 years, that eventually it can morph and grow into whatever multiple and or whatever industry and geographic verticals you seek and desire through scale. So just like holding space for patiently, right? The idea that the foundational components that you're building can be replicated incredibly easily through your 10 and through your 100. And I'm only beginning to like seed the bites into like next staging because somebody like yourself, Rebecca, is most likely already into the 9s in your thinking, right? And that seems clear. Like you have your group, your meeting, distinctions are being created. So we will speak each huddle into the folks that are in the 9s. So they're continuing to accelerate, exemplify, and then bringing them on to speak about what they're doing, how they're succeeding, the questions that they're challenged with, to speak into the dynamics for the other people in the 9s, and to be examples and leaders as we're here in the huddle. So the format of the huddle is never endingly going to evolve in service of all. And I see the next batch of service of all, for now, to break it into speaking to the listening of the 0 to 5 briefly, right? The 5s to the 8.9s, which serves the people in the 9s incredibly well, and the 9s themselves to teach to one another, and to the 5s to the 8.9s, and amplify their own identities on top of it. So that's where we are right now, plus the other things we'll do in the huddle. But that's going to be the format for a little bit, and we're going to see how that lands. I assure you of this, Rebecca, Fernando, all, that never-endingly, I open my eyes every day and say, I am obsolete, and you are obsolete as soon as we stop adding value, right? And there are many coaches, mentors, and trainers of mine that are brilliant, wonderful, and incredible, and I will always revisit their work, right? Because there's things I will have to be reminded of. But in terms of the micro distinctions of innovation where I'm operating, I have advanced past their work. And my hope and desire is that, and commitment, is that the level of distinctions we are adding for you will never run out, so that it no longer makes space for you to come here to learn, but only to be inspired or reminded. Then we will have lost. So the mission is this becomes not only reminder space, not only space of inspiration, motivation, but never-endingly of teachings of mastery at higher levels. So that's our commitment. Does that sound fair, Rebecca?
Yep. Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you. Anything else you'd like to add for today?
I'm just blessed and honored to be a part of this group, and thank you for your leadership. This has been tremendous. Thank you.
No, thank you. And have an awesome day. And I think we are connecting later today.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, so let's have some fun. Rebecca's going to be judge. Actually, let's speak into that for a second. The real raw today is going to be something we've never done before. It should be really fun and cool. And it's going to be done in conjunction with the Platt Summit. Joseph McClendon is speaking at the Platt Summit. Allison Armstrong is speaking at the Platt Summit. Some other incredible and remarkable people are as well. Gerald Rogers hosting. He's tabbed me as like co-facilitator, some label, which I'm like not sure that I deserve that credit, but it's nice of him. Master Co is speaking, but we're doing the Real Raw through that, so we'll have a beautiful platform at the Platt Summit for the Real Raw. And Rebecca, you'll be judging today, so thank you for that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so we're gonna have some fun. So, any final, Rebecca? Or you're all good?
Thank you. This is an honor, and I enjoy everyone that I've gotten to know here through Unblinded, and look forward to get to know others as well. This will be fantastic. Thank you for the innovation.
All right. Well, thank you, Rebecca. Talk to you in a bit. So, Fernando, any final before we take it home? 0 to 5, 5.1, 8.9, speaking into the 9s. We'll call it the 0, the 5, the 9 to make it simpler. 0, 5, 9. Final from you.
Final, Rebecca, thank you, for your committed trust. Thank you for joining, our very exclusive coaching program. I'm happy to have you part of, the teams in which are there. Your commitment to this formula, more importantly, to humanity. You have been in the coaching, consulting, development world for a long time. And the fact that you're saying yes and that you're seeing this brings joy to, I'm sure, Sean's heart and mine. And I'm super grateful for you. I feel fire, I feel heat, and it's going to be a magical day. Back to you, Sean.
Yeah, humbled and grateful by folks like Rebecca, Dimple, Deepak, Michael Smikin, Rob Gill, Fred Pinto, Halajulity L, David Gonzalez, Jan Hargrave, Lorelei, just insane. And if I didn't mention your name, it's not because you're not amazing. It's just, can't say every name. The names are amazing. Like the people that are on fire, the actions that are occurring, the fact that, the original draft of 10 is already moved into like some of their 10 having their 10, and that out of that 10, some of those people already have like as many as 8, or I've heard an 8. So like, it's incredible the ecosystem we're creating. And that ecosystem, remember, there's movement, there's things that are going to occur, lots of it, because value and the formula is what tether us together in the 10 by 10. And the more incredible people continue to pour into this, which they are, the more incredible it is for everybody. By the way, like Robert Fulton was in yesterday, you know, in Dimple's 10, I was like blown away. So that was super cool to get to meet him and hear what he's up to. And he brought a couple of beautiful, innovative distinctions into staying in touch with people. Like, just that's what this is. And it's just beginning. Just beginning. Have a beautiful, thankful Thursday. Check out if you have the space time grounding. The Platt Summit, it started. It starts 9 o'clock. It'll go all day. I believe it starts 9 Eastern time. But that link should be out there. Let's please get that in the chat. Fernando, please ensure that happens. And if you want to check out the real rollout today, it'll be super cool. It's going to be an abbreviated version. It will be done in a hard stop for an hour. Start on time, end on time. And we're going to be innovating around that to ensure that occurs. Have a beautiful, thankful Thursday. Are you a 0 to 5? Are you a 5? Are you a 9? Like, where are you? Scale of master acceleration. Please drop that in the chat. 0 to 5, 5 to 9, 9 plus. Have a beautiful day. Thanks.